Hi everybody, it's Leela with Miss Kiss Kreations. Welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be a little different. I'm going to show you how I created these simple makeup brushes. Like always, all of my materials will be listed in my description below, including some links and coupon codes. So with all that being said, let's go ahead and get started with this tutorial. I'm using these makeup brushes I purchased from Glitter Heart Co. I will have them linked in my description below. With these makeup brushes, you receive these plugs per se. These are very important, so make sure you keep these. I use baby oil to add inside of my makeup brushes, and then I also used UV resin to act as a glue. The glitters I'm showing you is She Said Yes and Golden Rose from Glitter Heart Co. And I'm also using a UV lamp or light. It is from Counterculture, but you can also purchase these from Amazon as well. And then I have some napkins and I have my space all cleared off. Just in case I make a mess, which I did. So this is me just showing all the makeup brushes, and each brush, they come apart. So you can see the bigger brushes, they come apart from the top, and the smaller brushes come apart from the bottom. Make sure you keep these pieces together, and then I place those plugs where they need to be placed whenever I place them together, just so I have everything organized. I wanted to lay out everything so it's easier for me whenever I go to apply the insides or add the insides and then plug them up. So I'm showing you the proper way to add the plug inside of the makeup brush. You want that little like nipple part to go inside. You'll see that it's smaller. So you want the smaller part to go inside the brush and the hole to face out, okay? So that's the proper way to do it. And I want to just really take my time and show you all that that nipple side goes inside of the brush. And make sure you have your station set up, especially with your UV light, just to make it easier with this process with adding the baby oil and the glitters inside of your brushes. I first just added my glitter inside of my baby oil. I mixed both the chunky and the fine together, and I did find that it did clump up a lot. I wanted a lot of glitter in here, but I still wanted enough baby oil to go inside of the brush so the oils and the glitters can move back and forth and have that water effect. So I did find along the way that adding the glitter inside of the baby oil did clump up. A lot of the chunky glitter especially clumped up at the bottom of my cup. So what I started doing is adding that glitter like you see just inside of that that handle or brush handle just separately, and then that kind of helped that glitter separate from the baby oil. I will say if I ever do this again, I will add only fine glitters and try to stay away from the chunky glitters. The chunky glitter was very stubborn, but I did end up working with it and it did end up looking really pretty at the end. It's just a lot easier that I found out by doing is just using the fine glitters or the finer cut glitters. And as you fill your handles, you'll see that there's like a little notch there where the rubber piece should meet. That's where I filled up the baby oil. So I filled it all the way up to the top until you see that little piece where it becomes thinner at the handle, and you'll see whenever the camera zooms in that's where I stopped with the baby oil. And you can see I started scraping some of the glitter into the handle, so just do whichever way you like. This did get a little messy. That's why you see those baby wipes on hand. You know, baby oil, it goes everywhere. It is the worst with that. So just be careful with that. And you can see that's where I showed y'all where to add the oil and where to stop. You don't want to add so much where there's not enough room for that bubble to be created, but you don't want to add a little bit where you don't get that nice flow of glitters and baby oil. I do want to let y'all know I didn't water down my baby oil at all. This is 100% baby oil. I know a lot of people, they use glycerin, I believe, and I believe they water it down, but I just took baby oil from my bathroom and I placed it inside of these makeup brush handles. And you could see I'm just applying that chunky glitter because it was so stubborn, and I finally got it in there. You can also use like a toothpick or even a finer wooden stick, whatever is easier. But I gave up with pouring, so I just started scooping it like a spoon and placing it inside the handle, and it seemed to work well for me. Whenever you are placing those plugs on two or inside of that handle, make sure you're placing it all the way down. A lot of times I had to place the plug into the handle and then I would push the plug and press it on my desk. So I just use a little extra force to make sure that it's completely pressed down and pressed into that brush, because that is what stops that oil from coming out. So that is very important. You want to make sure it's very flush with the end of the brush handle, and you want to make sure there's no piece or there's no plug sticking above the brush handle. So it's, like I said, it's very flush. And you can see I started using a Q-tip to press down some of that chunky glitter, because again, it was stubborn. So I tried different things. The Q-tip seemed to work, but then I went right back to the wooden stick. And do keep in mind that each plug is made for each size of the makeup brushes. So we have the bigger plugs for the bigger brushes, and then we have the smaller plugs for the smaller brushes. So make sure you are using the right sizes. And if you do accidentally use the wrong size, put the small one instead of the bigger one, you could just pour it right out and just restart. You could see this was a very messy process for me, especially with this baby oil going everywhere. So it's very important to really set up your station and have everything there that you need, so you don't have to worry about going in your house or going through your craft room and looking for all your supplies. And you can see all the glitter I have everywhere. It's very important to have that towel down or protect your workspace as well as you can. So all that glitter clumped at the bottom, and you could see I'm just scooping it right out just so I don't waste any glitter, and just placing it right inside of those brush handles. And once I'm finished applying that baby oil and glitter mixture inside of my makeup brushes, you'll then see me applying that UV resin and using that as kind of like a super glue, and using that UV light to finish the project. And now you see me wiping down the outsides of the handles of the makeup brushes, because I got so much baby oil on the outside that they were just so slippery. So I just wanted to make sure that they were wiped down with baby wipes and then wiped clean with some clean paper towels. And then I took my UV resin and I placed my UV resin on the outside of my makeup brush and also on these tips here. So I placed some inside of the tips and then where that rubber piece is. And you can see that I placed it there, and then I flattened it out with a wooden stick. I found that to work the best. That just gave me enough where it acted as that super glue and it wasn't gushing out of the sides. So you don't want your UV resin to gush out of the sides. You want to make sure that it's nice and snug in there. If it is starting to gush out the sides whenever you put that cap on, just take a baby wipe and wipe that excess off before you place it underneath that UV light. And y'all can see that's exactly what I did. Me wiping that down, I had so much UV resin that it came out from the sides. That's okay, just do it before you place it underneath the light. And then I placed each of those makeup brushes underneath the light for approximately 4 minutes. So I did a minute and then I turned it and then I did another minute. So I know it is a circle, but I tried to do a minute on each side. If you do over 4 minutes, that's fine. But I did at least 4 minutes for each brush. I just kept turning on that light whenever it turned off, and I just did all of my brushes as much as I could fit underneath that light as I could at one time. To be completely honest with y'all, this was my very first time using my UV resin and my UV light, only because I was very skeptical with UV resin. It just seems too good to be true, but I am very happy I used UV resin and not a super glue or another adhesive. It worked very well. I recorded this video about 2 weeks ago, and I've been using my makeup brushes for my craft projects since then, and none of my pieces have come apart and none of the baby oil has leaked from my makeup brushes. So it's very important. So I'm really happy that I used these, and I'm happy that I was able to show y'all that this really does work. And if you don't have UV resin, that's fine. You can use another adhesive or another super glue or a glue method, but the UV resin was very easy and it was very, very quick. And just to mention, the bigger brushes, what you saw was I placed the UV resin inside of the bigger brushes, and then I had to use my wooden stick to move around the UV resin to make sure the resin really gets on the sides and make sure that it does really get inside of there and coats the inside of that cap well. And then you'll see me just doing each brush one at a time, placing them underneath that lamp or light, and then rotating them as time passes on. It is that simple. This is such an easy project, and it's fun, and you can customize your colors whichever way you like. And then once all of my brushes were finished with the light, I took them from the light and then I wiped down each brush. I also pulled on each end piece of my brushes to make sure that all of the pieces were secure on the brush handles. Make sure you do that, that's very important. If they aren't secure and they feel a little loose or wobbly, then just place those brushes underneath the light again and make sure that resin really does activate with that light. Once I had all those brushes wiped down, I then showed y'all how fun these are, how cute they turned out, and I really love how simple and easy this project was, and I'm so excited to continue to use these on my future crafting projects. And of course, you can use these for what they're really intended for, your face, but crafts over makeup, right? So I really hope y'all enjoyed this video, and if you did, please be sure to give my video a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel for more Tumblr and craft videos. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see y'all next time.